is that you have someone who really kind of laughs with you and laughs at you and knows your kind of rhythms of your humor. Do you
And somebody who gets you started, you know, even if you're in a scratchy mood. That's great.
You mean someone that kind of, is that what they mean by someone kind of jump-starting you a little bit?
Tell the tale. Actress Stefanie Powers joins us live for a heart-to-heart at 11:35, and she tells me why she's teamed up with co-star Robert Wagner to play detective again.
They had it all, including one of the longest-running and most successful series on both international and domestic television.
And they've got it back. Hello, nice to see you.
Lovely to see
Stefanie.
you. And thank you for the...
Oh, pleasure. Sip it at your leisure. It's coming back. Not the repeats. A new six-part series.
New generation.
Brilliant, brilliant.
And also,
why did it go away, we ask? It was fabulous.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say.
Fun.
We wondered that too, but we were, you know, we always felt a little bit as if we'd been nipped in the bud, and because we had no idea that we were going to be cancelled. We had done the show for 5 years. In fact, I was in Paris doing a mini-series called Mistral's Daughter, and I received a telephone call on a Sunday night, the Sunday night before the Monday that they were going to announce all of the lineup for our
the new season.
And we were not on it. And it was a big surprise to all of us, and needless to say, a huge shock, and something that really didn't please us very well.
I bet not, because the ratings were great, weren't they? I mean, it was
the
doing
ratings
well.
were respectable, but there was a new man taking over, and he wanted a clean sweep. And
it sounds like Radio 1 all over again, doesn't it?
I'm afraid he took ABC, which is the one of the 3 networks, and took it from number 1 to number 3, so it didn't work very well for him.
Do you think that there is something about television executives of a certain type, not all of them, that when they, he said carefully...
If I say that, are we going to ever be employed ever again?
Well, there's a contact lens here. That's strange.
May I have some?
Very odd.
May I have some of this?
Yes, please. Yes, sip on. Is there something, do you think, about certain television, radio executives, whatever, that they feel the only way to make a mark and to establish that they are in charge now is to act a successful show? It's almost like a rite of passage.
Well, also there's this interesting thing about if you have the bad luck of having a project that you're developing under one regime and you begin to film. I've been caught twice this way. We filmed a pilot here for a new television series that we shot in England, and Ava Gardner agreed to be in the film. This was about a year or so before she died, and it was a kind of wonderful comedy. It was a little bit like Jennifer without Jonathan.
Right. Right.
And we thought it would be wonderful to film it in England. And everybody was very enthusiastic about it at the network. And then suddenly there was a decision from above to replace the man who was the head of the network, or the head of programming.
So it was no longer the new man's baby?
It wasn't the new man's baby. And he would be blamed if it didn't work out. And he would receive no accolade if it did work out. So he thought it was best to cancel it.
Extraordinary, extraordinary. On such people are these big decisions made. Well, anyway, Heart to Heart's come back. 10 years almost to the day you started shooting from the last one.
Yes, it was uncanny.
Yeah.
We began filming almost to the day, 10 years from the day we were cancelled. And it didn't take us very long to sort of feel as if we were back in the saddle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look fabulous, look super fit and all the rest of it. I haven't seen Robert Wagner for a while. Is he, okay still?
He looks great.
Is there as much dashing around as there was in the first? Because he did an awful lot of running around and jumping over car bonnets and, you know...
Well, this particular generation is, number one, it's no longer an hour show. It's a 2-hour format.
Oh, great.
So we literally have sort of done 2-hour movies, 6 2-hour movies.
Yep.
And the format's much better for us because we have a chance to develop the characters a little more.
Is the crusty old manservant still with you?
Oh, Lionel Sander, Max.
Yeah, Max.
Everybody's there except the poor dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they don't live as long as us.
Freeway would have been
Freeway's
the
gone, is he?
Dog in
He's up in that
history.
little Hollywood pad in the sky. So have you got a new Freeway, Freeway 2?
We have Junior, yes.
Right. And how have the characters changed? I mean, have they changed at all? You just pick up where you left off? Or...
We more or less pick up where we left off, but the characters have mellowed a bit. And we, in the opening show, we wanted, I don't think we developed it quite enough, but the idea was to develop a notion that we'd both been busy. We too, like our audience, had gone through the 80s and the recession and all sorts of things. And that we were coming back together after not being apart, but after distractions.
Right, right.
And an incident occurs that brings us sort of back together, where at the end of which Max can say, it's just like the old days.
Oh, good stuff.
You know?
I'm looking forward to seeing it, really am.
Thank you.
You actually said one point fairly recently that you hadn't pursued success at all. It had sort of pursued you. I mean, the heart-to-heart thing was obviously the big break.
Did I say that?
Well,
Oh, please.
the cuttings go that high. But are you an ambitious person? I mean, do you look for the next star vehicle? Do you look for the next star role? Or do you just take things as they come?
If you delete the star part
All right.
of it,
Yeah.
I'm always looking. We're always looking, and the legacy of an actor is to always feel that the last job they've done, or the one they've just finished, is the last job they'll ever have.
Right.
I'm afraid
Do you,
that's.
do you think that?
I'm susceptible to that as well. So we're always looking for another role which will be interesting and exciting. And I just finished something that I adored doing. I loved everybody I was working with. It was such a happy company. We filmed in the Czech Republic. It's a little movie called The Good King. And it'll be out just before Christmas. It's the story of the fairy tale about good King Wenceslas.
Right.
And I played the evil queen.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Beating and taxing the peasants and all.
You have an extraordinarily varied life. I mean, you speak 7 languages, more or less fluently, I'm told.
More or less.
Pretty good. You have this foundation in Kenya,
Yeah.
which you started with Bill Holden for the wildlife there.
Well, we started it actually after Bill died. And we currently,
It's his
something
inspiration,
Bill
though,
wanted
wasn't
to
it, really?
do,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and you've recently remarried to a
Yes.
French nobleman. Actually, how noble is he? What's his title? Is he, Count?
It's a title that's not used. That's
Really?
how noble he is, yeah. He doesn't use
what do you call him then?
I call him Patrick.
that'll do. And so you got there's a picture of him actually. That's your wedding day. Lovely.
Ah.
So you got a place in France as well. I mean,
No, well, we're sort of, you know, it's a very interesting relationship. We sort of don't live together, which probably means that the marriage will last forever.
why don't you live together?
Because we're both very busy, and but we do live. No, we do live together from time to time, but we haven't actually
catch up.
found where we're going to settle.
Right,
and,
right.
Where that home sweet home might be.
So how often do you do? I mean, in a month, say, in a given month, would you spend time together? I mean,
Well, let me say this: that there are months where we're apart.
God.
A series of months, you know, three
Yeah.
months, 2 months, 3 months, things like that. When I'm working, it's most people work from 9 to 5. We work from 5 to 9.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
As you know, you do the same thing.
But obviously, Judy and I live in each other's pockets. You know, that's interesting because obviously your great love and your first great love was William Holden, who we mentioned, and that was a very intense relationship, wasn't it? I mean, you were
Yes.
together much of the time. Therefore, this marriage, I don't want to pry into it at all, but it must be very, no, I don't, but it must be a very, very different kind of love.
Well, you know, everything is always different, and life doesn't stand still; it always moves, and our lives and our priorities differ and change. I'm not looking to have children and raise a family and start all over again. I sort of had.
Those
At this
opportunities
point,
as
I
well.
had those opportunities in my
Yeah.
life, and at this point, I think both of us were loners. Both Patrick and myself were a bit like loners. We sort of found each other and realized that we could have a very supportive and compatible.
A marriage of your choosing.
Yes.
In the way that, in the style that you wish to have it.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's a very interesting thing because I find people are very curious about it. Because it is unconventional, but it suits us very well, and we also fell in love with each other, so
Yes.
that helped.
Tell me, is there room in the rest of one's life when there's been a great loss, great tragedy, such as Bill Holden's death? Is there room to be in love again and at the same time still healthily to miss the person that you were once close to? Can those two things sit comfortably together?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. People who are a part of you are a culmination of your genetic inherited traits and your life experiences, aren't you? How can you cut something or someone out of your life, or attempt to cut someone out of your life when they play such an important role?
And have shaped, to an extent, what you are now.
Shaped you. I mean, Bill is in my life. In some ways as important as any of the great relationships that I have ever had. My parents, my brothers, sisters, lovers. Of course, Bill's influence on me was it was huge, but also it was varied. And
That's a comforting thought, Stephanie, because what it means is, I suppose, that when we die, a part of us lives on in the people that we love.
I heard somebody once say, and I thought this was the best idea, that the friends we have, the relationships we've had, are the evidence we ever existed at all. Without that, our frame of reference dies, or it's no longer there. And that's probably one of the most difficult things I think about getting older.
Yes.
I just lost a very dear friend, Henry Mancini, who, while not only being somebody that belonged to the world because of his talent, I knew him when I was 16 years old, and he was scoring the first movie that I acted in.
Which one was that?
With Blake Edwards, Blake Edwards directed it. Glenn Ford starred in it, and Lee Remick, and I played Lee's younger sister. And Henry's children, his family, we all stayed very, very close. Henry's death is a milestone in the history of film and in the history of film music and in music itself.
But personally to you,
personally, there's a big block that will be missing, and there's a frame of reference or a sense of humor or a joke about something that happened that's gone.
Yes, yes.
And it can't be explained.
Well, you look just the same as you did when you started 10 years ago, when it finished. When did it hit
Horses
our screens?
keep you young.
The horses, yeah, I've
I
forgotten that strange coincidence that,
Isn't that
that one of your horses is at this moment.
Two of my horses. Two
on
of
Simon Bates's
my
wife's
girls.
stud farm.
Yeah, they are. Actually, we have one baby. Simon and I have one baby together.
Ah.
We have one little baby boy.
Yeah.
This year has been a big year for boys, and it's not the thing that you want when you're in the horse breeding business.
You've got to have ladies.
You have to have girls.
Right. Listen, it's lovely to see you. When does Heart to Heart go in this country? We haven't got a date yet, apparently.
It'll be on, I think, this fall.
This autumn. This autumn.
This
Fabulous.
autumn.
Okay. Well, the very best of luck with it.
Lovely
We hope
to see
it
you
carries on
again.
and on and on. Nice to see you,
Cheers.
Stefanie. Thank you.